professor, physician, epidemiologist. I am Dr. Sri Banerjee.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University. And this video is actually about it's about a tragic occurrence that took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma yesterday. And this was another mass shooting that took place. And unfortunately, what happened was the gunman, he had back surgery, and he contacted his orthopedic surgeon, and there was some miscommunication, and afterwards he purchased a gun the very same day. He went to see his orthopedic surgeon, and then when he went into the clinic, he shot and killed his surgeon, his physician, another physician, and then two people in the front desk, and he was shot and killed as well. So this is another tragedy that has taken place. And the questions we must ask now is, what do we need to be doing differently that this doesn't happen again? This is within the week that people are burying their children over in Uvalde County, Texas. This is also only a couple weeks after in Buffalo we had the mass shooting in a supermarket. People cannot feel safe anymore in public places, and this is wreaking havoc across communities in the United States, and something must be done. So as a public health official, as a concerned citizen, I'm asking that that legislators and congresspeople, they take a hard, close look at gun policy, at ways that we can implement gun control laws so that we can make it much more strict and societies much more safe. What I've done is I'm a mapper, and so one way that I deal with a lot of this societal trauma is to see what I can do to help. And one way I do this is by employing my mapping skills, and it's, for me, it's a coping mechanism, and then I'm also able to provide some teaching and understanding of the situation that's going on. So we'll take a look in the second half of this video at some of the recent current demographic information in Tulsa County, Oklahoma, and compare this to surrounding areas to see what type of picture we're getting. So let's go to the next step. So in this segment of the video, I'm going to try to go into some of the root causes of why, and unfortunately, this is absolute horror, and so there's really no why. But if we can get to some structural determinants and some social determinants of health, and understand potentially some of the upstream factors that contribute to increased violence within society, then we can start to understand this better. So I did exactly that here. I decided to go into the county health rankings, access a data set that is readily available within the cloud, and it decided to go ahead and map one of the variables that is, in my opinion, really important to understand this, and this is violence, violent acts per 100,000. So this is looking at if you can. So the idea is, if you can determine places and identify hotspots of violence, then you can understand places where society is more likely to resort to violence rather than a peaceful means to resolve conflict. So in this situation, um, there was a conflict in terms of the physician, what they thought would address the pain scale and the pain level for the patient, and the patient was not in agreement with that, and there was some additional patient physician miscommunication, and and unfortunately, it ended in a mass shooting. So um, we have to identify those variables. The idea is here, those issues that are contributing to civil strife. I've talked about violence. Another area that is important is residential segregation. That is also a reflection of community level strife, and also inequity. So, what are the differences between the top 80th percentile and the bottom 20th percentile? And is there a big gap? So, these are all, I've just listed so many places that you can see firsthand reflected where Tulsa County um, was kind of the, um, unfortunately, the ground for a mass shooting, a third mass shooting within a month. Um, and so um, let's take a look at what is going on within this map. What I'm going to do right now, I have it zoomed into Tulsa right here, Tulsa County, and that was already provided for you. But what I'm going to do is zoom out here and give you a bird's eye view of what is going on within the nation, and just looking at all of these light blue areas, which shows places that have increased violence. Let me pull up the legend and show you once again. So this is greater than 444 violent crime offenses per 100,000. That is what light blue designates. So these are all all of these areas of mass shooting. In fact, if you look at Uvalde County, it wasn't as violent there, even as it is in Tulsa County. So you can compare this to other parts of the country, um, and take a look how this fares. You can even look in your local area. So Tulsa right here, um, and the life expectancy 78. Out of the 77 ranked counties, and this is actually the neighboring county. But looking at Tulsa County actually is ranked 16th. So in terms of health factors and health outcomes, it's actually not as bad, but the violence there is much more than neighboring counties. So this is almost comparable to Muskogee County. And we can take a look at some exact configurations here. And change here the designation so that we can take a look at the violent crimes per 100,000. And so if you wanted to take a look at this on your own, you can also use the same technique. And as you can see, that number is 716.69 for Muskogee County. And then if you take a look at Tulsa County, it's a little less than that, but still at 685.09. But right next door is Okmulgee County, and it's 311.05. So as you can see, spatially, these are all proximally next to each other, but for whatever reason, and it's because of some other indicators, the violence is much more. And so this is where you go in and try to understand what in fact is behind the civil strife. Then what we need to do, as I talked about in the first segment of this video, is go in and look at some of the gun policies at the state level, and see where there have been allowances made, and see where there can be modifications. So this, I end with the call to action. We have to get to the table and start talking about gun control, but not just talking. We have to start making significant progress in this area. Bipartisan efforts need to inform policy changes so that it is much more difficult to acquire rifles, semi-automatics, and some of the assault, especially assault rifles, um, and some of these deadly deadly arms. Um, this is the only way we will end violence and in our communities and make them safe once more for all of us. Thank you for listening.